Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another PlayStation review. Today I'm taking a look at Police Shootout for the PlayStation 5. Now this came out a couple of days ago in the PlayStation Store. I was lucky enough to actually be given a review copy for this one. And well, essentially this game is another one of those simulator type games. But this one kind of does it with a little bit of a difference. You essentially play a police officer. You're kind of new on the job. You go through like a tutorial section at the beginning of the game that shows you how to basically handcuff suspects, how to shoot targets, how to search for evidence, how to interrogate suspects, that kind of stuff. Very basic stuff, but still, yeah, it teaches you how to do all them things, and you can do all of those things in this game. Then you are kind of let loose on the city, and there's like different missions really, and they generally range from you kind of turning up somewhere to deal with a small collision to start with, and you're interviewing suspects sort of thing. And then they usually escalate into something much more major, like a robbery or things like that. And you've got to basically go to the scene, investigate the scene, talk to witnesses, survey the area, collect clues, and ultimately sort out the bad guys. Now you can do this in a number of ways. You can kind of go in there all guns blazing if the mission allows it, sort of thing. Or you can be a little bit more tactical about it. You can kind of survey the area, and it will kind of bring up some clues. For example, one of the missions that I did, if you made your way around the back, it gave you a clue that basically said you could sneak in the back way if you got someone to unlock the window for you, that kind of stuff. So there's while it's not overly complex or anything, there are kind of different ways for you to kind of complete missions. And you can complete missions by kind of negotiating suspects down so that you can arrest them, or getting into a gunfight with them. And sometimes the gunfights will result in them surrendering, or sometimes the gunfights will result in them you killing them, basically. But you do kind of get a little bit penalised at the end of the mission in regards to your score if you end up killing all the suspects and stuff. It's a very, very ambitious game, is what I want to say about this one. I genuinely expected this game to be terrible. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've played a few like police simulators or simulator games in general recently, and certainly over the last couple of months, that have been letdowns for the most part. And this one, while I'm not saying that this is Game of the Year material, I really do respect the ambition that's gone into this. Clearly you can see that it's rough around the edges in regards to graphics. It's rough around the edges in regards to voice acting. Even the game mechanics, for the most part, are rough around the edges. But the ambition and effort that's gone in here to try and create like a police simulator, not in the way that some of these other police simulators that we've played, play out, where you're stopping cars and checking driving licenses and going to accidents. And I mean, this is full-on homicide. There's dead bodies on the floor with blood. There's suspects hiding out in supermarkets you've got to protect. There's people locked in toilets you have to get out safely, and and you can get killed yourself on the job, so you've got to keep yourself fit, healthy and safe on missions. There are first aid kits you can pick up. But what this game also does that is very, very different, because it clearly knows that the gunplay here is never going to be Call of Duty quality, as we all know. So they've attempted to do here a turn-based game. So essentially what you do at the start of a battle, you've got places that you can go to get cover, and you've got a couple of action points, basically. So you've got you can either go into cover, or you can use both your action points to shoot at your enemy. And the shooting at your enemy thing is, until you get used to it, it can be quite challenging. You know, you click right to, and then you've got like your area that you've got to shoot them in, and it's quite easy to miss as well. So, and then when your action points are up, and then it's their turn. Actually works quite well, and it makes the game feel a little bit more tactical, which I really do appreciate because I love turn-based games anyway. And then you've got this other mechanic that I mentioned earlier, which is like the negotiating with suspects for the most part. So you will pick up clues by talking to witnesses and other suspects, that kind of stuff, and they will give you clues. Now, if you pay attention to what they're saying and listen to these clues, when you're kind of negotiating or interrogating the suspect, try and talk them down or whatever, you've got these cards at the bottom of the screen. You read these cards, and if it rings true what it says on them cards from what witnesses and suspects have been saying, you present that evidence to them, and they will either debunk that or accept it. So it'll either be a good argument or it'll be a poor argument. If you do enough of those and get enough of those right, you can talk down the suspect and arrest them without violence, or get information that you need from them. It's quite a smart mechanic. Now, you know, obviously it's done with not a great deal of finesse, I suppose. This is no LA Noire. You know what I mean? You're not going to get that kind of level of interrogation here. But again, and I keep saying this, I appreciate the effort that's gone into this to kind of give us this kind of police simulator. So you actually feel like you're a policeman on the job, going to calls, and then, you know, things escalate, and you've got to, like, say, break up robberies and all this kind of stuff. I mean, most of the jobs tend to turn out to be, you know, ending up with serious, you know, violence and gunplay sort of thing. You're almost like Harry Callahan, Dirty Harry sort of thing. But it's certainly not boring, this game. There's lots of things you can do here. You've got to call into the radio, you know, at the station, clues that you find, any evidence that's given to you, call it in. You've got you've got a torch, you've got a taser you can use if you want to kind of disable people that way. And it's a clever game that's been put together quite well, even though it's undeniably very, very rough around the edges. But I appreciate the effort that has gone into this. It's not an expensive game, and I think if you guys out there like these police simulator type games, I think you might be pleasantly surprised by this one. I'm giving this one, I would describe anyway, as a solid 6 out of 10. If it was a little bit more polished, it'd easily be a 7 out of 10, this one. So yeah, hope you enjoy this review, guys. Thank you very much for watching.